So for our next conversation, we're going to be talking to, let me pull it up here. So Barry, is it Barry Segal? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Hi, Barry, and then Jen Shore.
Hi, how are you, Rebecca? Thanks for having us.
Of course, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. So your film is called Focus for Health, right?
We don't have a film. We're actually one of the sponsors of Social Change, and Barry is the philanthropist that is one of the supporters.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Questions.
No, actually, can you just, we can start with you, Jen. Will you tell me a little bit about yourself and about Focus for Health? And then Barry, I'd love to hear from you as well.
So I've only been with Focus for Health about 2 years. I'm the executive director. We're very focused on health equity as well as diversity, inclusion, making sure that we think healthcare is a larger issue than just access to healthcare. We believe that it's the culmination of all the social factors that lead to our health and wellness in general. But I want to defer to Barry because he's the one who was the founder of the organization and can explain the way that we evolved better than I.
All right, Barry, let's hear it from you.
In my old life, I was a successful businessman. And after I sold my company, I wanted to do things for help other people. And I was always bothered by the inequities in this country. I learned more about structural racism and the impact it had on people. And I tried to help people in need both here and in sub-Saharan Africa. I founded the Segal Family Foundation, and we fund over 200 different grantees in Africa. And we have a large staff there that works on the ground with the people. And we try to get the people.
Oh, I think it froze.
Oops, we're
Are we here?
Oh, there we are. Okay, did we unfreeze?
So,
yes.
And then we founded Focus for Health, and we've changed our direction. We're concerned about vaccines and the greed of the pharmaceutical industry. But now our main focus is the inequality and the sex abuse, especially the child sex abuse by institutions that allow it to go on.
So many important issues that you mentioned, and it's interconnected, right? It's not like there's so much connection between all of these things. And one of the things you mentioned, I believe, is at the heart of that is structural racism. And I'd like to follow up by asking Barry, what led you to decide to tackle it in such a powerful way? And maybe when did that start for you? When did you discover structural racism was a thing and wanted to do something about it?
Rebecca, my hearing isn't so good, so...
Sure.
What made you become concerned about structural racism, and when did you decide you wanted to get involved with addressing it?
I felt, I don't know how it evolved. When I was a young kid, I was a sports fan. I was a Willie Mays fan, and other Black leaders in our business. We had unusual situations. We distributed roofing materials, and we had drivers, and we delivered roofing products to the jobs. And I had some African American people that were just super, and because we gave them a chance, they did more. And then I would see that the quality of life isn't fair. Charles Barkley says, if you're born in the ghetto, it's tough to get out. So the people that get out do super, but the people that grow up with their friends doing drugs and watching murders and everything. It's tough for them. And I feel somehow you have to change that. I don't think it's a complete answer, but I'm very strong that the Electoral College is obsolete. The black communities tend to vote together. So what's happening now, the wealthy donors get what they want and pass laws where they save money on taxes and they win all the time. And no one's fighting properly for the lower classes. I think you just, it's a tough change and it's a tough battle, but I think it's very important to change that. I'll throw
absolutely
that
please.
For years before what's happening now, the presidency can be 5 or 6 years, but it's one and done. You can't be campaigning while you're president, and that's before what's happened with Trump. I felt that way.
Yeah, it's quite healing for me to hear you say that, to hear someone just say like, yeah, like wealthy donors have a lot of control and there's not much for anyone who's not in that category. And I'm really appreciative of your work and your organization in doing that. It certainly means a lot to me. I hope I don't know if you heard that, but
in Africa, we went to CGI and I met some people. That's where I got started. But we give away $1 million a month in Africa, and the people that we have working there are super, and they're causing other donors very often to give money to the same people we are.
Yeah. I'll ask, how can people, if they want to get in touch with you and maybe be a part of your work, is there any type of website or person that they contact for that?
So what we would like to do is, if people want to see what we're about, check out our website. It's focusforhealth.org. We are on Facebook as well as Instagram, Twitter. We write articles that really try to express our belief. Everybody knows now with social media, we kind of only preach to our own people and we preach ideas that everyone always believes in, but we have some ability to get stuff out to markets that maybe aren't as aware of some of the issues that we're talking about. We don't make any illusions that we're changing people's mind, but we're introducing ideas to people. Even the concept of the Electoral College, the more you delve into it in terms of the racist origins and the fact in the 5 states with the highest percentage of people of color, they historically go Republican. So you have those entire states where Black people's votes don't count. And then, and then people are like, wow, why is there such voter apathy? Well, of course there's voter apathy. You know that your opinions are not valued in this society. And it's the same with healthcare. We talk so much about access to healthcare being the issue, where women of color are having terrible health outcomes from maternal mortality as well as infant mortality, regardless of their insurance status, their educational status, their academic. So it's, we're talking about issues where the issue is so much greater. So we're trying to get those message out there to people. So we recommend that you look at our website, read some of our articles, but more importantly, if you're in a position to give your time or your money, look at some of the organizations we support. We have people all over the country that we support. If you have an organization that is something that's really in your area of focus, we do a lot with criminal justice reform. We do a lot with improving birth outcomes. We have projects that we do about food sovereignty. So if people want to get into those things, support our grantees. That's what we ask. We're doing just fine. It's very explained. We're flush. So some of our organizations, though, could certainly use help or time, volunteers, or support. So we do ask that you check that out on our practice support page.
And was that focusforhealth.org, right? Not .com,
yep,
.org? Okay, I just wanted to put that out there.
And we also have a new URL, canceltheelectoralcollege.org. So if you want to check that out, we couldn't believe we got that. So.
That is my next tattoo, actually. Yeah, I'm so grateful for your work. I'm definitely going to check out your website. And I feel like I could learn so much, and I definitely want to push that forward and share that, because as you said, I think a direct democracy could serve us well. And I did have a question, actually, which was, what advice would you give people who want to try to make a difference by starting a foundation such as yours?
I can't respond to that. All I can say is, though, we started one way and the direction changed. So we do stay focused with it, and we listen to people, and things bother me. And then, I don't kid myself that we can change things, but I want to try. So the only advice I can give is, you have to decide what you want to do, and then be effective with the giving. We don't like to just give to, there's nothing wrong with the Red Cross or something, but we want to give to things that can impact the way we want them to impact.
Yeah, that's, I think that's even obviously, like, I don't have a ton of money to give to make a difference in that way, but I certainly want to be conscious of where my money goes. And because that means I'm supporting whatever mission that they have, I'm supporting it because I'm funding it, even if it's just a little. So I certainly appreciate that perspective and that mission that you bring. And I think it's great advice, honestly. So you said you couldn't answer, but I thought you answered very well. And I just want to thank you both. I did have one final question before I just ask any final thoughts you might have. For Jen, actually, what led you to dedicate your career to social change? Anything in particular lead up to that?
So I've always worked in the profession of helping people. I ran a welfare office. I ran a HUD housing department. I worked in not-for-profit my career. I've always been very fortunate to be privileged enough to be able to choose a profession where money was not my biggest consideration, even though I've learned as time goes on, money is really, really important. So that being said, it's always been, I've always felt such a sense of obligation to being able to help other people. And if I've been the recipient of help, I've been the giver of help. I mean, we all find ourselves on different sides of that throughout our lifetime. And it's just important to remember the humanity that we all share. And, I think there's so much misconception that helping other people is just for them. We all benefit from being in a better world, and you get to decide what kind of world you want to live in, and every day you get to decide what side of those issues you want to be on. And I want to be on this side, and I was very fortunate to come and align with Barry, and I love being on the side of the table where I get to support organizations like Social Change. When we met Todd and we heard the work he was doing, we wanted to, we can't be the people who are doing the boots on the ground work because we're here, but we want to support those people. And it's organizations like that that we think are changing the narrative, changing the discussions. They're not just putting Band-Aids on problems. They're looking at radically changing the way the world is and the way people perceive themselves in this world. So that's what I want to be a part of. And I'm very lucky to be in the position I'm in now to really, I hope we're doing really good things.
It sounds like you are. I actually did get another question that I wanted to put out there if you have time, which is what advice do you have, both of you, for young activists who want to do good work but don't feel like they can afford to?
So how do you do good work even if you can't afford it? If you don't have the finances, can you still give?
there's so many different things you can get involved in. You have to pick what fits for you, and then there's small operations. You can work for somebody that a group that's doing what you think is important, and there's so much that is wrong that that needs change. You just have to pick your spots, and you can't be all over the lot. But,
In particular, oh, I'm so sorry. Please continue.
I'm sorry?
She said, go on, continue.
I said, unfortunately, we're all over the lot, but
Yeah.
we'll continue that direction.
And even if you can't give money, everyone can educate themselves about these issues. I think right now, some of the biggest issues we have with the racism is people's unwillingness to accept it exists. Reading a book,
Yeah.
Educating yourself, go read Caste, read White Privilege,
Yeah.
books that educate yourself. Just libraries are free. You don't need money to educate yourself and to learn things, and just seeing the world in a different way will make the difference. Even if you can't start a foundation and give away money, you can be an agent of change just by your own thinking.
Yeah, I relate hardcore to that. I'm from small town Missouri, and I like to say I escaped to Chicago when I was 19. And I mean, obviously there's wonderful people in Missouri, but like, I had my own experiences, and I certainly want to, keep educating myself. I've certainly learned a lot and about my own privilege and the privileges that are not given to people because of their gender, their sexuality, their race, their ethnicity. So I want to thank you both so much. We're about to move on to the next group. They are here and waiting, but I just want to thank you both so much for your time, for your work, your effort, and for being here today. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Rebecca.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.